What's going on, guys? It is Alone Courier here, and I am here as I made my video about how to improve contracts. I'm here to make a video on how to improve Blackjack, the temp specialist. Now, yeah, temp specialist is a little bit old by now. It's probably just over a month old. And I've just finally got around to using them now. So, yeah, I'm fucking late as always to everything. But the temp specialist, now there is a few ways Blackjack could be improved, and that's what I want to talk about in this video, as I did the video about how contracts could be improved. So, Blackjack. Now, there is a few things I want to say first for people who don't know about Blackjack, or for people who don't play Black Ops 3 anymore, or who haven't ever used them. Now, Blackjack, everybody thought it was going to be broken as fuck originally when it started off, and the way they've balanced Blackjack is really fucking good, honestly. There's a lot of ways that Blackjack can just, you know, not work entirely. And that's really the balancing factor when it comes down to it. A few others is with kills as well, but I'll get to that later. So the first thing I want to say is, depending on what ability or weapon you're using, Blackjack has two abilities on offer. He has Gambler and Rogue. Now, Gambler lets you use anybody's ability. And then the way Blackjack works is you must get your specialist meter full before you can attain that specialist ability or weapon. You can't grab the weapon when you're on half specialist meter. You need to wait until it's full, and then when you kill somebody, if they have an ability, you'll take their ability. And there's a few other ways that you can cheat out of that. There is actually a feature, I think it's called Grand Theft or something like that, and if you kill somebody while they have their specialist weapon active, you can take their specialist, it fills your meter completely, and that's pretty cool, you know. It's pretty fair. There's a couple of ways how it works though. With Rogue, obviously you can take weapons, and it really comes down to the lobby you're playing in and what kids are choosing, because sometimes I've used the Gambler ability and it has not worked out for me at all. So for the most part, Rogue is the better option to choose, because most kids in this game go for specialist weapons rather than abilities. I find it's usually the I don't know, kind of more the careful players that are using abilities, because there is a lot of better abilities, but most kids just want to go for the scythe and, you know, drop fucking like mega kills and kill chains and stuff like that. So for the most part, choosing Rogue will be a way better option than choosing Gambler, because when you choose Gambler, you might get two kids in your lobby with an ability, so it's way better to have Rogue, where you can get the weapons. So with the kills to fill up your specialist meter, because your specialist meter doesn't just tick up gradually, you know how normally you can just sit up the back of the map and you can do absolutely nothing, you know, sitting up the back of the map with your finger up your ass. You can't do that in this game. Your specialist meter has to fill only when you kill people, which is quite fair, honestly. It makes it a lot fairer for I don't want to say bad players, but, you know, for people who can't get kills that easily, you know, because it'll take them a lot longer to actually get Blackjack, and it is quite a fucking, it's a rather controversial specialist, you know. It's like, I don't know whether I think it's broken or whether I like it, because for a player like me, it's fucking easy to get 6 kills. You know, I can get my specialist weapon way quicker than anybody else in the lobby, and that feels a little bit broken. You know, it's not broken as such, but, you know, because there is a lot more broken things in Call of Duty, undeniably, but it kind of feels a little bit cheaty when you have your specialist weapon way before everybody else in the lobby, and, you know, but the thing is really cool is obviously when you can take other people's specialist weapons. Say, for example, if I kill a Ruin and he has gravity spikes, that'll come into your specialist, so it'll say gravity spikes stolen. And if I go on to kill a Seraph with the Annihilator, it will say Annihilator available, and I can redraw and take the Annihilator instead of the gravity spikes. Now, you can't redraw back, you know. It's the way people made it seem was you can kind of pick and choose what specialist weapon you're using, but you can't. It's only what weapons you have, and if you've redrawed already, you can't. I don't think you can redraw back to that previous weapon. Like, if you have gravity spikes, you swap it out for the purifier, and you think, oh no, I'd rather have gravity spikes, you can't do that, you've lost them. So you just have to kill that Ruin again. But it is really good having that, you know, it kind of balances it out that way. And quite frankly, I'm a really big fan of Blackjack in this game, you know, the character, well, the specialist. It's fucking cool, dude. Like, seriously, it is possibly one of the most fun specialists I've ever played, and obviously right now, I didn't really feel like Black Ops 3 was the most fun game, but this really has given me a reason to actually grind away at this game, because this specialist is actually quite fun to use. And it just kind of makes me say this, but I wish there was other ways to earn Blackjack, not with weekly contracts, but another way to earn also with the weekly contracts, because I earn my weekly contract, that's 1 hour of playtime with Blackjack, and I will say that's fair, because Blackjack is one of the most fucking, like, possibly broken specialists in the game. Now, I say possibly broken, it depends on who's using it, you know. If someone like the Market J is using Blackjack, that's basically an endless specialist that you're playing against. He's going to be able to get that specialist all the time. And there is a few ways that, you know, with your specialist, you have to get gun kills. I don't think that score streak kills go up for it, so it's a lot more fair that you have to kill people manually to get your specialist meter. That's quite fair, and it balances things out, but, you know, I just wish there was more ways to earn more playtime with Blackjack, because it's a really fun specialist, and it kind of feels like a bit of a wasted opportunity of Treyarch only letting us use him for 60 minutes per game. Well, 60 minutes per week, you know? I mean, I wish there was another contract to let you use him. Maybe, I don't know, for another hour or another half hour even. That'd be quite fun. But, you know, Blackjack, after using him, it definitely is one of the most fun specialists. And I mean, it's not broken, but I can see where people say it's broken. I can see why people say that, you know? It makes perfect sense to me, but I honestly think Blackjack is one of the most fun specialists I've ever used. And come on, dude, you can just use anybody in the lobby's specialist weapon. That's fucking fun, you know? So it depends on what lobbies you're playing in and what kind of stuff people are using. You know, you might have a good time or you might have a bad time. Say, for example, if you use the gambler ability where you can take people's abilities, sometimes you might run into a lobby where only one person has a fucking ability, and that might be Rejack. So it's a bit of a mix, you know. It is a gamble when you're using this specialist, really, because you don't know what weapons people are going to be using. Because, you know, sometimes people like to change up their specialists a lot. Some people like to just use abilities instead of weapons, you know, stuff like that. So it is a bit of a gamble using this character. Sometimes you might have an amazing game where everybody's using a weapon and you picked Rogue, or sometimes you pick Rogue and everybody's using abilities and one person is using the weapon and it'll be a garbage weapon like the fucking Sparrow or something like that. So, you know, it is fair, and I do like the way they've balanced it out, but I just wish there was more ways to earn extra playtime with Blackjack, because it feels like a wasted opportunity. You only get him for 60 minutes, considering this was one of the biggest things this year for this game. You know, everybody was shitting their pants about a temp specialist, and now you get him, you can only use him for 60 minutes at a time, you know? So it is a good way to get people back into playing the game. You know, the weekly contract is worth doing, you know? Like, I'm glad they gave you an incentivization to actually do it, you know, because obviously you get your 30 crypto keys and you get the Blackjack contract, so that's quite good, you know? So I've stacked up mines, I've got like 2 more. And another few things I want to talk about is like the side bets. Yeah, basically with the side bets is you can earn a calling card, which in this game you can earn calling card sets. You know, if you earn 6 calling cards, you'll get a special one for unlocking all 6 of them. And the way it works with Blackjack is you unlock one at a time. You know, you use one Blackjack contract, so that's 60 minutes of playtime, you can unlock one of the side bets, which is getting 4 kills with different specialist weapons in each game. I'm not too sure what the exact challenge is, but it's very easy to get that side bet if you're just, you know, swapping between the weapons, which is always quite fun. You know, you can just use whatever you want, and it is great that way. You know, it kind of gives you a more balanced playstyle, because if you're playing Nuketown, you know, if you feel like it, you can kind of like change out and use the Sparrow if somebody's using it, and then you can go for some insane multi-kills and stuff. And you can swap over to the gravity spikes, which is great for clearing out hard points and, you know, getting people off the robot and safeguards. So it is quite fun. Honestly, this is one of the best specialists in the game, and it's balanced. It's only available for 30 minutes, but as I said, I wish there was more playtime with him available to you. So yeah, Blackjack isn't as broken as I originally thought he was going to be. I am actually going to give Treyarch props on that. Good fucking job, guys. You actually did something good for once. You know, it's quite balanced the way they did it. So yeah, so glad this character didn't get added in fucking supply drops though, because if he was added into supply drops, oh man, that would be broken as fuck. There would be no fucking way back from that. You know, there would be no redeeming themselves for Treyarch if they did actually put Blackjack in the supply drops, and I think they actually noticed that themselves, so they added him into the contract. So yeah, Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. It's been the Lone Courier, and I'll see you guys in the next one. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I always do appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.